I heard Justin was up on 85 when I turned the radio on, and I thought there was somebody bubbling with him, but I guess there were some guys down in Foreland or whatever, and I'm looking at the spectrum scope, and there was nobody down here, and I didn't even bother to get on and say, hey, why don't you guys move down? I figured I'd just get on here and call CQ. And I don't know what radio you're using. It probably has squelch. I use the squelch instead of muting if I want to, just be kind of on alert to see if someone comes on. And it works pretty well. I'm using an SDR Play with the SDR Uno software. And I like it. I like it a lot. I've been using an SDR for a long time, but I upgraded to this SDR Play about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. And it's definitely an upgrade over what I was using. And I like the software, but I don't know. I have a hard time getting on the air when I can't see, when I don't have a spectrum scope. I want to see what's going on, and that's why I sold my 870 after I got so used to the SDRs. But anyway, W3MMR, and no group thus far. And I'm a poet, and I don't know it. N2LJO.
Well, the group now, W2JBL.
There you are.
What's going on? W2JBL recognized. W3MMR. What's going on, Chris? Good signal, man. As always. You and George are just smoking. And I ain't joking. See, George, I'm a poet, and you didn't know it. No, you guys are sounding good. Real good. Yeah, they were, Justin and Timmy were on there. Timmy switched over to the Junction 600 because of the guys down south. But I checked the web SDR. I know, because I kind of got into it with a guy on Facebook about that, about them firing up down there in one of the AM groups on Facebook, and it was like, I was, because the one night I was in, I know them guys can hear me, because I used to get in with those guys every single morning down there, and there was one day I was in there, but I was checked on web SDR tonight, and you couldn't hear Timmy or Justin down there, but you could really hear them guys up here. Maybe it's because I was down here in Southeast PA, but they up there were obviously they were talking about the ongoing QSO as well. So I guess maybe in their defense, they couldn't hear them tonight. But I know for sure there's times that they do hear us. That's for sure. I'll make a couple more comments. I'll get right over to you, Chris. That's right. And I guess it is the ShopRite brand, that Black Bear lunch meat. I guess you guys have them up there as well. Yeah, I have a ShopRite about a mile down the road from me here. They have some of the best deals, man, with that ShopRite card. I saved $20 the other day just from that damn ShopRite card. I spent $150, but I still saved $20. And I'm not a liverwurst fan, but I don't hate it. If somebody was like, "Hey man, you want some liverwurst?" I'd be like, "Yeah, what the hell?" But not a big fan. That's for sure. Thanks on the signal report too, George. Yeah, I went from about 50, maybe 55, 60 feet, and this is an easy 90 to the feed point now. And everybody had good signals before, but now everybody's it's got to be at least 6 dB stronger. Guys are, 35, 40 over solid. And it was, only a couple guys would hit me 40 over at the other house. So it's been nice. But the noise is still high. But that's what you're going to get when you live in the city. W2JBL in the group, W3MMR. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Perry. Man, you got a huge signal in here from the new location. 40 over, easy, just riding near the pin. Really nice job. You're still in the city? I thought you got out of the city. Or maybe you're in the suburbs now. I don't know. You're out of Chester, I hope. I was getting worried about you. I was seeing there was a program, I think it was NBC Nightly News, Lester Holt, one of those programs one night last summer about Chester and all the violence there. And I'm like, damn, man, I hope he gets his ass out of there before something happens. Oh, shit, I gotta turn the wick down a little bit. Wait a second. That's still too much wick. Running my, running my Collins 32V2 into 4-1000 amplifier, amplifying it to a nice number. I finally had this rig back on the air after about 3 years. I didn't touch it. I did a lot of work to it. I thought I had it back, but I was wrong, and I just put it aside. The PTO, the VFO module of the thing was bad, and I had a watch on eBay for like 2 years, and one finally came up, brand new, sealed Collins PTO, factory seal, never been opened. I don't think anybody ever put power to it. So I got that in the transmitter, and tweaked it up, and I got this thing back on the air with the Timtron audio mods, and one of the best sounding transmitters I've had. Had this my entire ham career. My father bought it for me when I was 15 in exchange for cutting the grass. And he loved that, man. He'd sit on the back porch drinking his Ballantine ale, watching me out in the hot sun. No shade at all in the big backyard, cutting the grass. Oh, man. Well, I love this transmitter. The receiver's an R390, non-A. And I'm in my downstairs operator position. So all the RF is going upstairs to the other station and out the Johnson kilowatt matchbox. Sounded great here. I had a... Oh, God, I had a bad experience with the auto repair shop. Trying to get a front end alignment on my 2001 Grand Marquis yesterday. I'll go into that later. I can't get a good front end alignment around here anywhere. Well, I haven't been able to for many years. I don't need it that often, but I need one. Yeah, I'll go into the details later because I'm buzzing. George, good evening. I guess we're on for Sunday. Let me know what time frame and so on and so forth. Looking forward to that. And I was just looking at the TCS manual. I thought that thing did 20 meters. It doesn't. It's all over at 12 megahertz. But on the plus side, it has 160. And Tim says you can get good audio out of them. I haven't heard Tim's TCS manual. I'm sure I'll be able to get it working, sounding good, because it's got good mod iron. It's Collins. I know that transformer. I've used it. And George, I'm just curious, your new SDR versus the old one, have you noticed a decrease in the latency? I would imagine it's that much newer. It would be, and assuming you have it on a reasonably fast computer, I would imagine that the latency of your new SDR is greatly reduced, much less than its latency with your first unit. You might comment on that. Here it comes, N2LJO in the group. Sorry for the buzzing, W2JBL.
No worries, no buzzer, no problem whatsoever. Yes, big signals. Perry, I just got done telling Perry that his signal is bigger now from the new location with the new antenna. And then you came along and you verified it. No, absolutely. As far as I know, we're on. I'm going to call it. I was going to call it today, but I'm going to call it tomorrow to confirm Sunday afternoon. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 1 o'clock. Because that'll give me some time to do some stuff downstairs in the office. I'll also have a little bite to eat before you guys show up. So that's what I'm thinking, 1 o'clock. And I got to remember to tell him not to bring the Heathcote stuff. Because I don't want it. I have nowhere to... I don't need another project right now. I've just finished working on my Ranger 2. If you looked at my QRZ page, it's up above the, it's on a shelf up above the Valiant, next to the Drake. And the Ranger 2 was there before the Drake. before the ICOM, so the Ranger 2 kind of got like, I don't know, what's the right word, blocked in. And it had to come down to get fixed, so while the Drake was down, I took the Valiant, I had to fix the Valiant, fix that. And then I did a bunch of stuff to the Ranger 2, and it's all done. And I'm loving it. So now everything can get reassembled in there, and now everything will be working properly. You that we are on for Sunday. And I might have Ramon here doing some stuff around the house, but that doesn't mean. Anyway, I guess it goes back to Perry, W3MMR, and the group, N2LJO.
Turn that up a little bit. N2LJO and the group, W3MMR. Well, thanks for the signal reports, fellas. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, well, good on the SDR stuff, George. I wonder what software you use. And Chris, obviously you asked about it too. I wonder what software you use, because I think you can use a lot of different softwares with like all of these SDRs, like even mine. I've with the Anon, I've used SDR console. I think I tried that. There's like another one, SDR DX. I mean, there's tons of them, and I think like you can actually use SDR Play with like the Anon software too. I think somebody mentioned doing that before. So I don't know if you try with any of the other ones, but maybe it might be something you'd be interested in. Because I mean, there's these SDR these softwares, they're endless. You can do endless things with them, different meters and, you know, all this visual stuff. And obviously they're great receivers as well. But I mean, it's really fun being able to cruise from like DC to daylight, isn't it? I love these SDRs for sure. And Chris, that Collins sounds fantastic, dude. I mean, really, that thing, it sounds really, really good. And is that just 32 V2 power? Because you're a good 35 over or stronger. I mean, you guys are just plastering me right now. So it's really great conditions. And Chris, I'm in the suburbs, yes, but I'm like literally 3.5 miles from the limit, Philadelphia city limit. It's a hell of a lot better neighborhood here. It's one of the best neighborhoods in the county. The school district that my son's in is the number 13, the 13th best school district in the state. The school district at the other house was not. It was like in the bottom, you know, bottom of the state, and I had to get out of there. Where I was in Chester was not a bad area. It was on the edge of Chester, on the good edge of Chester, bordering but part of the town of Parkside and Wallingford, and which are really nice towns. And you know, if you go, you know, 5 blocks the other way, you know, it's a different story. But where I was in particular was not really bad. You know, very diverse neighborhood still, but it was not a bad neighborhood. For sure. And I lucked out because I was the only house on the block with a side yard, and luckily had a cedar tree smack dab in the middle of the property that I was able to use for my antennas, so I really lucked out. Anyway, I think I'll stick in here for one more, then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go rustle up something to eat. W2JBL in the crew. Maybe others lurking. W3MMR.
Don't hear anybody lurking. W3MMR and group W2JBL. Wow, I've got my ferrite loop direction finding equipment going that I'm playing around with. Man, that thing works really good. I've got a sense antenna on it, so there's no ambiguity in the bearing. It only points in the right direction. And it's nice. You know, I'm getting good bearings on that interference from New England in there and other locations. Oh, okay, on the neighborhood, that's great. Yeah. I'm happy for you and your son. Absolutely. Thanks for the audio report. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I've had this transmitter like since I was 15. That's 50 years, more than 50 years. I had mods to it, but I never did the whole Timtron mods with the inverse feedback and everything. And the 32V series have really, really good iron in them. If you're familiar with the transmitter, it's a 4D32, which is like a baby 813, modulated with 807s. And it does 100 watts, 80 through 10. And I did extensive work on it. The story goes, after I had to clean out my mom's house after she passed away, this transmitter was stored in my basement in the house I was living in Carmel, New York, and it was there for 10 years. No, it was there for 5 years, and it didn't take well to being stored in the basement, we'll put it at that, and I had to go through the exciter and a bunch of bad ceramic caps and resistors and stuff, and it was a nightmare because Collins equipment is great, but it's really hard to work on. And no, this is no 100 watts. I'm driving a single 4-1000 with, what do we have here tonight? 250 volts on the plate, and it's loafing along near legal limit. Sitting there right next to it, looking through the peekaboo window at a medium orange plate. And it's got a pressurized chassis, and the big chimney and the blower, which makes a lot of noise. The blower has a 1/2 horsepower motor with a starting capacitor on it. This is an industrial strength homebrew amplifier that I bought from Bear. The guy up in New England built it. But yeah, you're stronger. You're past 40 over that time, and then you're strapping George by 10 dB. George is only 15 airline miles from here, maybe slightly more than that, and you're strapping him. And George always pounds in here. He has a tremendous high-angle signal because his antenna's not that high. He's got a great combination down there. So. Yeah, George, I can do 1 o'clock. You're forcing me to get up a little early, which I should do anyway, but I rarely can. I'll have to shorten the breakfast up. Breakfast, it's so hard for me to get going in the morning. Just so slow, so leisurely since I retired that breakfast takes an hour. Scrambled eggs, bacon, and an English muffin takes about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Very laid back. And that's after getting out. You guys are gonna kill me for saying this. I get up at 10 o'clock. Okay, if I have to, I'll get up at 8:30. The alarm goes off at 8:30, but I don't get up till about 10. But I can tweak that a little bit. What the heck? And George, again, I'm curious what the latency is like on your new receiver SDR versus the old one. I would imagine it's much faster. The reason I'm asking is because I'm going to be probably buying one, maybe two of those things. One for the shop and maybe one for the upstairs radio station, but definitely one for the shop. I have that IFR service monitor, but the spectrum analyzer in that thing sucks, and it's also pretty much crapped out right now, and it can't look at a wide enough slice of the spectrum, whereas the SDR can look at a very wide slice of the spectrum. And you like spectrum scopes? I was going through a 1942 edition of Radio and Shortwave magazine. Great magazine. It's published by Frank Jones. 1942. It was like January of 1942, just after the start of the war. Right inside the front page of the magazine is a full-page ad, Hallicrafters, introducing the Spectrum scope with the pan adapter in a rack cabinet teamed up with their SX28 receiver, which was one of their top-of-the-line receivers. So there you go. Everything old is new again. N2LJO in the group. W2JBL.
forgot I didn't answer your question before. I'm sorry. Yes, the latency is better. There still is some. It's not terrible. And but it does so much more. You know, it's got notch filters and squelch, and it lets you save different configurations. You could listen as wide as you want. The notch filters are great because it'll take out any heterodyne, which is cool. And the digital noise reduction also helps with that. I mean, you could have a beat tone, and then you hit that, and boom, it's gone. It's gone. Like, you'll see the signal, but you won't hear any tone. And, excuse me. You talk about loops and all for direction finding. You should talk to Clark, but it's a conversation he'll only have off the air about the Raspberry Pis and the TDOA direction finding, time difference of arrival. It's like really quick. I don't know how many Kiwis there are, but I guess they talk to each other, and I don't know how you turn it on. I don't know, and I wouldn't discuss it here if I did. But apparently all these SDRs, or a lot of them that are Kiwi SDRs, are linked to do time difference of arrival direction finding, which is pretty cool. So Clark knows more about it, and Clark has actually tracked down a lot of people for different reasons. So that's something that's very interesting. I want to learn more about it. But I guess you can't beat, old-fashioned and old loop, right? Points you in the right direction. That's for sure. Chris, I definitely recommend the SDR. You can't, I feel blind now if I'm on a radio and I can't see what's going on to the left and to the right. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. W3MMR and the group N2LJO.
N2LJO in the group W3MMR. Chris, you just hit 40 over, by the way, with 100 watts. See, like, that would never happen at the other house. Ever. And this receiver's calibrated. I was literally just sitting here thinking, like, should I calibrate this, hook it up to the HP signal generator and make sure S9 is minus 73 dBm? Because some of these signals, man, are just like astonishing. So, my son came in the room while you were transmitting, Chris, and he told me to let you guys know that he said hello. And George, he wanted me to tell you this, that when I first said your names, said it's George and Chris, he thought I said Georgia. He was like, Georgia? I said, no. George said, well, make sure you tell George I thought his name was Georgia. I said, all right. I love 12-year-olds. Quick comment on the TDOA and the direction finding. Hold on, let me get a sip of my water. Sorry about that. So, that works good on Kiwi SCRs. I've done it quite a few times. It works really well if you kind of have an idea of an area where it's coming from, and then you can find receivers that kind of surround that area, and when you do it, you have to do it more than one time. You have to run the TDOA, which takes about a minute, and run it 5-10 times if you can. That works best. But even just a few times, because kind of got to get an average where things are, and it like shows a heat map, and red for where they think it's coming from, and yellow, green, so on and so forth. So it does work pretty darn good, I will say that. So anyway, I'm going to say 7-3. As you can tell, I'm kind of losing my voice, so I'm going to go get another bottle of water and listen out. So it's good to hear you guys, and glad we're back on the air, and I'm going to get up early and get on the old Milrad net. Bright and early, Chris, 0500. I know you couldn't imagine that. So, but I'll be going back to sleep shortly after that, until about 10 or 11 o'clock. That's my normal Saturday routine. Catch you guys later. Over to you, Chris, and I'll be listening now. George, great hearing you. W2JBL with N2LJO. This is W3MMR.
Yeah, okay, Perry. W3MMR and the group W2JBL. Well, it's quiet now. I'm listening to you guys in the 16 kilohertz passband on an R390. That's without mechanical filter, so it's wider than 16. Perry, no, I'm not running 100 watts. Far from it. I'm driving a single 4-1000 with 5200 volts on the plate, and I'll say I'm running legal limit with it. 375 4-watts carrier, something like that. definitely not 100 watts. I'm just driving this big, beautiful homebrew amplifier in the 7-foot high rack. Nice rack. And hi to your son. I hope he's keeping up playing and practicing on that Strat. I'll be playing my Gibson arch tops tonight, my jazz guitars. That's one of my other favorite hobbies. Excuse me. The military radio net. Okay, I thought it was 6 a.m. I'm going to be getting this Collins TCS set up. Meeting the guy at George's house on Sunday to pick it up. TCS transmitter and receiver. World War II vintage Collins. That's it's the radio equipment that was on board my father's ship in World War II. It means a lot to me to have it. He had said that all the radio stuff, all radio equipment on his ship, the TCS is the only setup that never broke, never failed. And it's good equipment. It's Collins stuff, which I happen to love. George, okay on the latency and software and so on and so forth. I don't really need it don't really want it for a ham receiver. I want it for the bench. I want it for service application for the spectrum analyzer. It'll look at a much wider slice of the band than the spectrum analyzer of my IFR service model. And I might want one for the upstairs station to use as a receiver, but honestly, if somebody makes a software that doesn't have that silly waterfall or the spectrum scope on it, if you have an option, just turn that off. That'd be really nice. I don't like it. I don't like looking at it. And I don't care who's above me or below me, If I want to know, I just tune either way, it'll be up or down. I'd rather not see that feature, in my face the whole time. I'd rather see an oscilloscope pattern, but those things are not capable of that. It's not at the present level of development. I'm sure it can be done through software, but it isn't happening as of now. I wish it would. Because the scope tells you a hell of a lot more than the spectrum display, especially with the spectrum I would prefer to see on there. And, I don't know if it's still out there, but if you go up 9 towards Wappingers, past the Splashdown Beach Water Park, on the right, there's an auto repair shop, and they've had parked out front all summer. I'll have to look and see if it's still there. A red 1966 Impala SS convertible 327 red white leather interior for sale. Gorgeous car. I have not. It's on a little strip of old Route 9. No, it's on Route 9. I haven't gone in there to look at it up close, but it looks really nice. I don't know if you're in the market, but there's your 66 convertible again. And I'm going to get out of here in a minute as well. And, head upstairs. Let's see what's going on here. Just looking at the meters on the amplifier. sure everything is okay. Oh, that's the deal. N2LJO and W3MMR signed and hopefully listening. And as to the direction finding, I've built a number of loops. I have a shielded circular, conventional shielded loop, and I have a ferrite loop. Both have internal amplifiers. Both are tuned. Very high gain. They work great. And both of them have a sense antenna. That's a whip antenna behind one side of the loop and connected to one side of the loop, basically. Those loop antennas give you a null. They give you two nulls 180 degrees apart. The sense antenna makes the loop unidirectional. And I have taken bearings of this jamming of Timtron and others, particularly the jamming of Tim. I've taken bearings from here, and then I've taken bearings from my camp, and I record all the information. Yeah, it's not TDOA, but it's old school, and it's pretty damn good. And I've got one source of interference isolated to one location northwest of here, and another location east-northeast of here. But I haven't confirmed yet because I have to call some local amateurs in those areas, in those towns, to confirm that that's where it's coming from. And that will get done. N2LJO, W3MMR, is W2JBL.
Good evening. Hello, Chris. KC2FX. I guess the other guys are gone, or what?
John, I get it right over to you. Perry signed, 7-3 Perry. I don't know how old your boy is, but we'll let him get his ticket. Get cracking. We need more hams. And yeah, 0500, I don't think so. Maybe I'd get up at 0500 to go down to the lottery office to pick up my check. I had to get up 2 weeks ago. Kathy went down to Florida for a wedding that I did not attend. And I had to get it to the airport at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up at like 4:30. I'm like, yeah, right. This is not for me. But 7-3 Perry. And fine business on that, Chris. It's just kind of cool, though, if you think of like 15, different Kiwis all getting a bearing and all those lines crossing, and then, there's that little point where they all cross. Bingo. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll hang in here for one or two more anyway. And say hello to John. Good evening. Good to hear you. Pick it up. Excuse me. Jeez, it's not you guys. It's me. Pick it up and make one, John. KC2FXE with W2JBL. N2LJO.
I'm going to steal it for just a second before John picks it up. No, I'm not knocking the TDOA direction finding. The last time I worked with the FCC before I retired, I had the privilege of being in one of their vehicles, and that's the system that they use, although it is much more sophisticated and insanely accurate. They demonstrated it to me. Amazing technology, and that's a good 6-7 years ago. That was, so I'm sure they're probably even better than that now. It was amazing to watch. So no, I'm not knocking it in the least. I can't do it, so I'm just doing it old school. But that's the loop antennas were a series of projects that I did over the last year. It wasn't for direction finding, but it was mostly for broadcast listening and noise location. Go ahead, John. KC2FXE. And the group W2JBL. Real loud here.
Oh, that's good. Good evening, Chris. George, KC2FXE Catskill. I heard you talking about the SDRs here. If you go to their website, Chris, they have a software that'll work with the SDR plays. It's called Spectrum Analyzer. You have and it looks just like an oscilloscope, a spectral display from 0 to 200 gigahertz.
Yeah, that's what I would like to have for the shop here. Absolutely. I'm sure you can, that's the full width. I'm sure with the software you can narrow it down, but that would be a tremendous help because last year I built a new mobile transmitter for 80 and 40, band switched and all that, and I had a terrible time on 40 meters with a spurious signal, and it turned out that I had to change my multiplying scheme. I had to I had the VFO on 160. I had to change the VFO to operate on 80, and that cured it. But the spectrum analyzer that I have in my IFR 1200 service monitor, which is the monitor we used at my job at Motorola, can only look at about, I think it's about a 5 megahertz slot of band. So, the SDR would definitely take care of that problem. Yeah, I'll check that out. Go ahead, John. Oh, well, yeah. Okay, yeah, pick it up because I'm buzzarding away. W2JBL.
No problem. I heard you guys been listening for a little bit here after dinner. After my little nappy poo, I have dinner, I sit down and watch the news, and I don't remember the news. I just fall asleep. Then I wake up and I go, oh, I'm going to go in the room and go see what's on the radio. So anyway, I heard you talking about the SDR Play. That's what I have here, SDR Play. It's the newer one, the 1A, I guess, or whatever it is. But I was looking at the software, and I have it downloaded on here. I've played with it a little bit, but it's got a lot of features to it that you got to adjust you can adjust your bandwidths and what you're looking at, and your millivolts per centimeter. You can adjust all that just like a regular oscilloscope. And very interesting. I wish I knew how to use it better than I do. I've dabbled with it, but I don't know enough how to use all of it. It's got so many features in it. So you should check it out. You could probably download the software without even having the SDR Play. That way you can look at it, look at the information, and you won't be able to open it up without the hardware. But I don't think they'll let you open it up without the hardware, because it looks for when you open any of these programs up, it looks for the SDR before it opens it up. Because then when it opens up, it shows which SDR you have up in the corner of the screen. It verifies. You must have an internal serial number or something that it looks at before it opens the program. But very interesting. If you something you could you probably handle it better since you have one of them station monitors set up there. Very similar. Anyway, nice today. I guess a little bit warmer, and I guess tomorrow we're going to have another nice day. A little windy today though, so I never got outside. I sat in here. I'm playing with my my lathe. I'm trying to get these couple pieces made up here. Let's see what else to comment on. You're doing very well here. That 4x1's doing quite well here. Yeah, I also I don't know. No, I'm not going to comment. I know what you guys are talking about. I was listening to the QRM there before. Anyway, good evening. I guess I missed Perry. I heard Perry in there, but I guess he took off. Go take care of some things. And I'm just babbling too. I don't know. I just heard you talking about the SDR, and I thought I'd mention that. They do make an oscilloscope. They do make a program for spectrum analyzer, though. They don't call it that. They call it something analyzer or something like that. But you'll see it if you look at their website. You can pull up the software. Over to you, George. How's everything down there? And what else? Well, the house is quiet. I guess the wife's getting ready to shut everything off. Almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, she shuts things off at 9 o'clock and goes to the other end of the house and sits in bed and watches television. That's what we have, a television in the bedroom. So that's the opposite end of where I am. so she don't hear my noise or anything else. She's down there relaxing. KC2FXE, Catskill in the Earth.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, today was a good day. It was freaking cold this morning. Everything had frost. I think it was like 28 degrees on our weather station. And my best friend of 50 years, yes, I said 50 years, and not my oldest friend. How about that? Nice to have friends. He came down from Orange County today, and we went over here to Blue Mountain, the pistol range. Well, first we cleaned. I wanted to clean these couple of things before we went, just to make sure they still worked afterwards. 2 guns that I've had for a couple of years. And it didn't really shoot either one of them much, but never cleaned them. So we did that, and we went over to the range. And put some holes in paper for an hour and a half or so. And then he dropped me back here, and he went home. But when he went home, I gave him... He turned 65 last year. He's a year ahead of me. And I had picked up to him. He had his ticket like 30 years, maybe 28 years ago. After I got mine in 1990. So he 93, 94, I think he got his. So we can talk. He's not really into radio. But he had his ticket, and then he let it lapse. So I got him, picked him up a really nice 2-meter monoband Yaesu 65-watt radio, alphanumeric display, and a vertical antenna. I had some cable, and I had a spare lightning arrestor, and I had a couple of wall feed-throughs. And I gave him all that. I said, that's your 65th birthday present. So hopefully he's going to get his ticket again soon, and hopefully he'll grab his call sign, which I'm not going to say, which is still hanging there, expired from 10, 11 years ago, whenever it expired. So that's what I did today with holes in paper. And it's funny, you bring a box, you bring a case to the range, and you always come back later. And I remember reading, Chris, say 14, 15 years ago, Brent, my dear departed friend, used to talk about having a system with computers that would talk to each other and all that for direction finding. And I don't know how I stumbled on it. I don't know. I probably Googled direction finding or something. And I came across, it was a PDF, like a 10-page PDF, which was like a sealed bid from a contractor on a government spec to work on what was called the HFDFC, which is the High Frequency Direction Finding Center. And I was like, whoa, this sounds interesting. And I was reading about it, and I don't think I'm far off, if I'm off at all. It was like 14 or 15 stations, probably 10 or 11 of them here in this country, and then others in other countries that were all linked on this HFDFC, and that they could, in like 5 seconds, pin somebody down to an eighth of a mile. So I wonder if that's what the FEC, as people call it, I wonder if that's what they use when they get a complaint. I mean, an eighth of a mile. All you gotta do is Google average radio operators, Portland, New York, and you get a list of everybody who's a licensed ham in that town. Works for any town. I don't even remember who publishes that, who puts that data together, but it works. And my SDR, Chris, forgetting about any oscilloscopes,
Dispatch to the car is almost fully engulfed. We got everybody out of it.
I don't know. I just like the
we try to use fire
cars, and I
extinguishers
like
on this vehicle, but it's
seeing what's going on. And that's the reason I got rid of the 870 and I got the
we got everybody out of it.
For the spectrum scope. And you can
We
turn
try
off
to
the
use
waterfall.
fire
I don't know
extinguishers on
what
this
the
vehicle, but
waterfall
it's,
means. Don't know how to interpret it. It looks like a Rorschach test.
But
And
your
if
son's
I
right
know
here,
Oh,
how
so if
to
you
read
don't
it,
mind
I'll
coming to
be
get
just
him.
fine with that. W2JBL. I think it goes back to you. And the group N2LJO.
Okay, that's perfect.
I'd like to be able to turn off the spectrum display if I don't need it. It's just a distraction. You know, but to each his own. You know, I guess I'm not the fan, but I never have been. N2LJO and the group W2JBL. Well, that FCC HF DM system is what I saw in one of their vehicles. Now, they're acting on a complaint that I had filed of interference to a public safety radio system. And I got to sit in one of their vehicles and see this stuff. And of course, this was happening on
driving 122879 C's 220 volts.
It was a VHF
5-watt slugger bypass
interference situation, but I'm asking them about HF.
Audio
Gave me a quick demonstration, and it was amazing. And this would have been, what I'd say, 6-7 years ago, I guess. Really, really cool stuff. So what you saw, that bid, maybe that's not the winning bidder. I don't know who won the bid, but that's what you were looking at is what they have. And it's amazing. Didn't know Brent was fooling around with it. I know Clark does a lot with it. Okay on your friend and getting him on 2 meters, that's cool. Definitely. I was thinking about the other day, I think, other than one guy from high school, from junior high, who I still know, I think my oldest living friend is Tim Tron at this point. And I'm going to quote my mother, who said when she was pretty well into her 90s, the worst part about getting old is all your friends are dead. And that's beginning to strike home with me after Joe N2YR passed suddenly a few months ago, and a few other, we're losing members of the AM community as us aging baby boomers continue to age. But either Mark, who was an SWL, and I believe I met him in the 8th grade. I might have met him in the 9th grade. I can't remember. And another guy named Flip with Judas. He got his ham ticket, and I can't. Later in life, Flip got his ham ticket. The three of us all met at the same time. Yeah, it's coming back. I think it was the 8th grade. I can't find Flip. As far as I know, he's still alive, but I don't know where he is, and I don't know his call sign. Mark is an SWL. He lives in Florida. We're all the same age. But I met Tim Tron on the air probably just before. Yeah, I was in the 7th grade. So I think I was like 12 years old. Remember, I'm born in November, and that was hell for me in school. It was born in November means everybody else in my grade, all my classmates, were a year older than me. And I'm not a big guy in the first place. I was a tiny kid. My God, I was a tiny kid. I mean, when I was 12, I looked like an 8-year-old. I was so small. So, entering the 7th grade, the kids are a lot bigger than me. The worst was the 9th grade, because I still looked like, at that point, I still looked like I was like maybe 8-10 years old. I'm in the 9th grade. I'm getting the crap beat out of me. Hey, squirt! I turn around, look, kid, kick me and boot my ass down a flight of stairs. Oh, God, the joys of growing up. Oh, John. Okay, on the lathe and so on and so forth. My father taught metals, but he never taught me how to use his lathe. The lathe was off limits. I'm a half-ass machinist. I want to learn more. Am I going to get a small lathe? I don't know, but I'd probably get more use out of a milling machine than I would out of a lathe. But that's on the list. I told you the other night I got my shear. My metal shear. I got to get that thing set up. But, auto repair news. I've got this. I'm buzzarding away, but I'm also going to sign in a second. I've got this beautiful 2001 Mercury Grand Marquis that I bought for my mother just after she wrecked her car and just before she got sick and passed away. She never got to drive it. So I had registered it in my name and I was just going to give it to her. So I kept it. Gorgeous car. It's the twin to my 98 Crown Vic Police Interceptor. Except it's a luxury car. Beautiful car. I love it. And I've got a custom tune on it. There's a guy in the area that does my tuning. He did a fantastic job. I got a custom tune. I put the big aftermarket sway bars on it and the high-pressure gas shocks. It handles every bit as good as my police car, but it rides a whole lot better. Not as fast because it has a single exhaust. Great car. Anyway, last year I hit something that knocked the right front wheel out of